In the small town of Black Hollow, there's a name that still makes people lower their voices. Daniel Reed. Even after all these years, his disappearance is the most disturbing mystery the town has ever known. Daniel was 27, a quiet, polite guy who pretty much kept to himself. He worked the night shift at Ranger's Gas and Mart, a lonely gas station on a long, dark stretch of highway. Out there it was just dead trees and darkness for miles. Locals used to joke that the station felt like a place where time just stopped, with its flickering neon sign, buzzing overhead lights, and cracked pavement that always felt damp, even in the middle of summer. But the truth is, that place, it always felt wrong. For weeks before Daniel vanished, strange things started happening. Drivers passing by late at night would report seeing someone or something standing on the edge of the road near the station. Sometimes it was a tall figure, other times a short one, sometimes just a shadow with no real shape. But every single time someone tried to get a good look at it, it would just disappear. Daniel himself had mentioned to his co-workers that he was hearing things. The sound of knuckles tapping on the windows, whispers just outside the door, or that unnerving feeling that someone was standing right behind him while he was working the register. Of course, nobody really took him seriously. Night shift does things to your mind, they'd say. Too much silence, too much darkness. But Daniel wasn't the type to scare easily. The night he disappeared was a Thursday. It was cold, quiet, and wrapped in a thick fog that completely swallowed the edges of the road. The security cameras show there were no customers after 1:30 in the morning, which wasn't that unusual. But the footage also shows Daniel pacing back and forth behind the counter, looking really uncomfortable. Then, at exactly 2:17 a.m., he suddenly stops moving. His head turns slowly, deliberately, toward the front window. A faint, rhythmic knocking sound echoes across the silent station. 3 taps, a pause, and then 3 more taps. Daniel looks confused. There were no cars outside, no movement at all. Just a solid wall of white fog. He hesitates for a second, then grabs his flashlight and steps toward the window. The camera captures him leaning forward, trying to peer through the fog, and that's when the knocking happens again. But this time it's louder, and it sounds like it's right next to him. He jumps back, startled. Still, there's no one there. For a long moment, Daniel stands completely still. Then, as if he's being pulled by some invisible force he can't fight, he slowly reaches for the front door and unlocks it. A rush of cold, damp air fills the small store. He steps out onto the cracked pavement, shining his flashlight in slow, sweeping arcs across the empty lot. The knocking has stopped, but something else has started. The camera's microphone picks up a faint whisper. It's not words, it's more like breathing, heavy and close. Daniel turns sharply, aiming his flashlight toward the sound. And that's when his face changes completely. All the color drains from it. His mouth opens slightly. His eyes go wide, staring at something just outside the camera's view. And then the screen suddenly glitches. 3 seconds of static, just 3 seconds. When the picture returns, Daniel is gone. The flashlight lies on the pavement, its beam still on, pointing toward the empty road. There were no footsteps, no drag marks, no car, no sign of anyone entering or leaving the station. It was as if Daniel Reed had just been erased from existence. When the store manager arrived the next morning, he found the front door wide open. Inside, the security camera was still recording, just clicking through hours and hours of an empty, silent store. The police searched every inch of the surrounding forest. They brought in search dogs, drones, even helicopters. They found nothing. The fog that morning was unusually thick, so thick that the rescue team said it felt like sound just died inside it. One officer later admitted off the record that while he was searching the trees, he heard soft knocking right behind him. When he turned around, of course, no one was there. Now, most of the security footage was released to the investigators, but there was one clip that was never made public. It was from a silent, grainy camera angle at the back of the gas station. At 2:19 a.m., during those 3 seconds of static, that camera showed a tall, dark figure standing directly behind Daniel. It had no face, no defining features, it was just a shape. When the main camera's picture came back, both Daniel and that figure were gone. The officer who reviewed that specific clip retired the very next week. Rangers Gas and Mart shut down that same month. They couldn't keep anyone on the night shift. Too many new hires reported hearing knocking sounds after midnight or seeing shadows moving in the fog. Some locals still believe Daniel just wandered off into the woods and got lost. Others think he was kidnapped. But the people who live closest to that old abandoned station, they swear they still hear tapping on their windows on foggy nights. And what's even worse, a few travelers have reported seeing a man standing alone on the highway near the abandoned gas station. A man wearing a blue work uniform. A man holding a flashlight. But when they slow down to get a better look at him, he's gone. But here's the detail that most people don't know. Daniel's phone made one final outgoing call at 2:20 a.m., exactly 1 minute after the camera glitched. The call went to the emergency operator and lasted only 7 seconds. All the operator heard on the official recording was knocking and heavy breathing, then silence. Daniel Reed was never found, and the gas station remains empty, its old neon sign still flickering on and off in the dark like a lonely heartbeat, waiting for someone or something to return. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories that will keep you up at night, make sure to subscribe.